Welcome back. In this video we will see how we can replicate the results that we got earlier using Excel with Stata, and then we're gonna do a couple more videos to see how we can replicate them using SAS, Eviews and SPSS. So the data that we had in the previous videos can be seen in this Excel file. We had our y dependent variable against our x1, x2 and x3 independent variables. And our results were right here, where we had our coefficients, our constant, our x1 coefficient, x2 and x3 coefficients. And then we also had our standard errors and our t-statistics. We're going to get back to this in order to compare our results and see whether we get exactly the same results using both Excel and Stata once we get through the program. So let us go to Stata. When you open Stata, you're going to see this window in front of you. On the right hand side you have the information about the variables that you have already imported, and in this case I have already imported the data, but we will do it together as well. You can see the data by clicking up here where it says data editor, and there's my data. I have my y dependent variable and my x variables. I can x out of this. So my results will be printed in this window area over here, and then I can type any commands that I want right below here. However, I can also write my commands in a do editor, and the way that you get to the do editor is by clicking up here where it says new do file editor. Let's click on it, and there's my new do file editor. I already have one open, so I can X out of this. So there's the program that I have written, and as you can see, the first thing that I'm writing is clear. Now I'm not going to write this from here. I'm going to run it, I'm going to execute it from the command line just so that you can see that this also works. So I can simply write any command that I want, such as clear, and press enter. And as soon as I press enter, you're going to see that these variables over here are going to clear, so that I can import any other information that I want. So I have added the command for importing the Excel file. Now there are numerous ways with which you can import data in Stata. However, my favorite way is through Excel. So you have to write import Excel, and then the path name as well as the name of the file. Now please note that these are not case sensitive. However, if you also have multiple sheets in your Excel file, which means that you will have to let Stata know which sheet to import, then the name of the sheet is case sensitive. So the sheet that I'm importing is called for reg, and then I also have to add the commands first row and clear. So let us highlight this and press execute. And in the window that we see over here on the right, Stata is letting us know that it has successfully imported the file, and you can see this also from here where we have the names of the variables in our file. Next I can run regress. To run a simple regression in Stata, all you have to do is put the dependent variable first and the independent variables after that. For any other options we're gonna Stata has available, we're going to see them in future videos. So let us highlight the regression we're going to be estimating, and there is the result. There are the results of our analysis, and you can see over here that they're exactly the same as the Excel file. Let me open both of them. And we can see over here that the results are exactly the same. These are the coefficients for our variables x1 through x3. Our constant is 5.28. There is our constant 528. 0.74 is the coefficient for x1. There it is. So when x1 increases by 1 unit, then y increases by 0.74 units. When x2 increases by 1 unit, y increases by 1.1 units. And when x3 increases by 1 unit, y decreases by 1.34 units. You will note over here also that the t values are also the same, also, and the standard errors. There's my standard errors, 0.3561, 0.3561. None of the variables are statistically significant at the 5% level, and I can see this in either of three ways. I can see this either by looking through the t values and comparing them with the critical value, or by examining the prob values and seeing if any of these are less than 0.05. Since none of these are less than 0.05, none of the variables are statistically significant. Or I can go to the 95% confidence interval and see if the interval contains the value 0. If it does contain the value 0, then the variable is not statistically significant. And as we can see in all three cases, this is from minus 0.12 to 1.61. All three cases contain the value 0. We have to note over here, however, that this value is very close to the 10% level. It's less than 10%. That means that x1 is statistically significant at an alpha level of 10%, which also means that if I had over here the 90% confidence interval, then that would not include the value 0. F statistic 2.17, not statistically significant, as this value is more than 0.05. And finally, our R square is 0.28, implying that we're explaining 28% of the variability in the dependent variable.